Hello everybody, this is Count MRVHS and welcome back to our 4th Age Reunited Kingdom campaign. We are attacking a host of Adunabar that was besieging the fortress of Caer Andros. And so we are going across a river here. Caer Andros, of course, is a fort, kind of on an island. And so we need to essentially capture the crossing. This will be made much easier by these the addition of these citadel catapults to the army here, and we don't have a lot else in terms of military, but I don't think we really need it. We got some Dol Amroth men-at-arms, Knights of the White Tree bodyguard unit, a couple tier 2 bowmen, and then some swords, and I think that should be plenty. As we can see, the enemy has set up on top of this hill pretty far from the starting position, and we do have some reinforcements coming from I guess inside the fort, these Kingdom militia here. Yeah, Caer Andros is right up there. It's on this very high island, essentially. And so we are going to... one thing I wonder is if we can actually get across the river with the Citadel catapults, because it's not a bridge. But no, we can't. We can only get up to the edge. All right, well, we'll speed this up and see you in a minute. Well, since the catapults are essentially out of the battle here, we will have our work kind of cut out for us. I can see the enemy longbowmen up on the hill here. They were coming down and then seem to have held off. I think what I want to do is use my cav for a good portion of this. Send them up in this direction and they kind of rush everybody forward. The quality of units here is probably about even, with the exception of those bowmen. The good point is that we do have 2 archers to their 1. So even though they have a better quality, we have the quantity, and that really does count for a lot when it comes to archers. The other units they have include Royal Spearmen and some Swordsmen, which are very similar to our own King's Swordsmen. So I think we want to do some kiting around them so we don't get our own swords in a fight they can't handle. Looks like those bowmen are attacking my swords, which is great. If we can knock out a bunch of them with our own archers, I would be very happy with that. And what we're going to try to do in the meantime is get these guys around to deal with the Adunabar nobles if they'll let us. Brought the catapults as close as I could to the edge, and they're going to have to get down pretty close to our archers in order for the catapults to fire, so that just may not happen. Alright, the nobles are being kind of cute here, so they're actually that's a pretty smart move. They're attacking our archers. I think the presence of these other units is causing those bowmen to march. Alright, we may be able to isolate him here. Let's not get caught by those spears. Alright, bowmen are firing at something. It's still those swords. Alright, you know what? Let's throw them in and catch the bodyguard unit. Okay. I kind of feel like we shouldn't just allow our catapults to shoot at this particular unit. In a little while, we'll be able to take a shot at the King's Spearmen, or the Royal Spearmen, and that'll be probably a much more successful shot. Alright, let's see. Oh, we almost had it. I swear I saw it flicker green. Okay, we may be able to catch him. Dol Amroth men-at-arms are, as we saw, pretty good. And I think they might be slightly faster than some of these other heavier cav. Of course, they are pretty heavy themselves, but I think they're going to catch him. Alright, we didn't actually lose this other unit of archers. We did do some damage to their longbows, and there goes the enemy general. That's a family member, and so he will not be coming back. Alright, so we're going to set up over on the uphill side again, and we still have a lot to deal with in terms of enemy units. Alright, we are still shooting at them, but if they're going to face off against our archers, they're probably going to do a lot of damage because they still have a decent amount of men here. And as you can see, these units are pretty well armed with helmets, mail, so they're going to withstand a bit of punishment. And they're not going to break easily even in melee. The Royal Spearmen, similarly, very well armored. So I don't really relish taking these guys on. And the Adunabar Swordsmen, you know, not too much of a threat. But we are eventually bringing over the Kingdom Militia. So that might just be another unit that we can use to some effect. All right, they're breaking off and approaching our cavalry. We'll split them up a bit, send the men-at-arms straight down towards the longbowmen. And they're not going to get caught by those Adunabar swordsmen. Does technically leave them open to a charge in the back by these bodyguard units. I'll just do the old trick of doing the rally. That brings the bodyguard back and out of the fight a little more safely. We are routing those longbows, which is wonderful news. And we're not routing these guys yet. I'm a little worried about the general. Let's pull him out. Alright, I think we need to bring these cav back. We can work in tandem to rout those. Let's rush the Kingdom Militia over. We could hit the Royal Spearmen, but not in melee. That just doesn't seem like a good idea. Let's do another charge. I think he's back out of the fray enough that we might be able to break him with this one. We're going to get hit in the back with men-at-arms pretty quickly, and then we should turn on the Royal Spears. There they go. Alright, let's quickly go down here and try to minimize the losses to our swordsmen. They're winning easily. Oh, no, they're winning easily. The bad guys are. Okay. It goes back and forth. There's an ebb and flow, but we'll charge them right here. And this should be it, I think. Given how quickly those longbowmen routed, I think these guys are going to be gone. There they go. So we'll clean up the battle here. Didn't even have to use our Kingdom Militia, which is, you know, I guess that's okay. We'll retrain these King's Swordsmen and the Bowmen for sure. And then see what to do on the campaign map. Alright, so we relieved the Fortress of Caer Andros. Enemy army routes off the field. So that's great news. This does leave us with Calenhad. And, very interestingly, we've got this, this large army besieging Oldburg. Now, I'm not going to rush to attack Calenhad precisely because I don't want this army to turn around and hit me. I don't have a lot in the area here. So we're going to just chill out for a little while, and we're going to move... I think we'll stay right here. Next turn, we can head back with some of these units. They don't have quite enough movement points to get back to minus honor. We can, however, retrain Adunabar of Linhir and his men who were fighting around Emin Arnon. And that's going to get us a couple of full units of longbows, some more King Spearmen, which is a quite good unit, and some swordsmen. I think we'll also get another replenishment of these mercenary Gondorian swords. Still plenty of population here, so no problem doing that. We are slated to lose a ton of money, though, this turn, so I think it's probably best for us to end the season. Just make sure we've moved everything we need to move. I suppose we do have some fleets stationed at Dol Amroth that we could use for a bit of revenge here. This is the fleet that just disgorged this host of the Empire of Harad, and we will be dealing them in a little while as soon as we retrain the army of Ingold of Belfalis. But I think we can at least capture the boats, or attempt to. We'll see how this goes. It might be a pretty even matchup. And we outnumber them, kind of 2-to-1. Both of their units here are Dromans. Oh, there's a Droman and a Marauder. This is the best they can make. So let's check out the stats here. The Marauder has 14 attack, 19 defense. 62 soldiers currently. So 14 and 19. And if we look at the other hand on our Palorans, that's 13 and 19. So very, very similar. And also similar in numbers this time. So let's attack and see how it goes. Clear victory. Okay, that's what I would have expected. Since we are at war with Harondor, I guess there's no reason not to hit this tiny fleet. Only 33 men there. We won that handily and sunk it, which is good. And, you know, I think I want to bring these boats back for refitting. I just don't want to get caught out. Yes, and in the north, we do have some things that we can do. Fornost has fallen to Adunabar, and it looks like they've got some hill trolls, 4 of them. That's good. They don't have too many, and I don't think they'll be able to retrain them for a long time, if ever. So we can decide what we want to do with this army here. We can go and attack this army, pretty small one. We could go and immediately attack Tardal, and, you know, I think that's what I want to do. But first, let's move the spy around to make sure they don't have a huge stack of trolls and nasty things somewhere else. Okay, so let's go over here. I guess we are running a slight risk of running into an ambush, but we'll just have to take that. Okay, let's go for the assault. Let's see what they have. Okay, yeah, and it's all 4 units of Grim Spears, which are kind of the equivalent of our Kingdom Militia, and then they've got a unit of Dark Swords. This should be pretty straightforward. And here we're facing one of the Dunedain maps. This is the more straightforward assault one, where it's all on a single level, and there's a central plaza here. And there's a few different approaches to it, but I think what we want to do is just get as close as we can to the walls at the beginning here and figure out, let's see, let's get our archers up front because they've got absolutely no ranged. So we'll go something like this. And let's take all of our spear units, I guess, including those militia. And we'll save the swords for hacking down the Grim Spears. Already the longbows and the Rangers of the North are firing. Very cool looking unit here. Grim Spears deciding they'd rather not approach us. I don't really blame them. Let's rush our cavalry forward though. And Kingdom Militia as well. This is the unit of Grey Company here. And this, of course, is our heir, Kemendur, of Anuminas. So the Grey Company, again, are essentially a horse archer unit with swords for melee work. And they're on skirmish currently. Let's engage them, and then I want to charge them with... Wow, okay, that routed them pretty fast. So let's rush in and eliminate them. They're broken already. Wonderful news. So we want to bring our archers up to the plaza, or around here. We can pull them out of the plaza towards into the streets. And let's get our tougher units, King Spearmen, up. They do have a unit of Dark Swords, so I'm a little, you know, just cognizant of that. That is a stronger unit that could cut through our spears. And that is the bodyguard unit, in fact. So it'll be good to pull them down out of the plaza and wipe them out, probably with cavalry. But actually, the nice thing about Grey Company is that you can use them to do some pulling as well. Alright, let's bring the Kingdom Militia off into Side Street. And you guys as well. And we are firing. And they did take a loss, so they may be turning around to rush in. Yep. Now, if we run too far away, they're going to give up. But if you kind of let them think that they might have a prayer of catching you, typically they'll just keep following you. If you can trigger a charge, then you can lead them around. There they go. Pretty much wherever you want them to be. But we might get caught there. They are in melee. Let's pull them out, and then let's I guess we do want to be a little careful of our Kingdom Militia units, not to get them too wiped out. But what we'll do is we'll kind of close off the street here. You guys down. You know what? Let's charge in with the Rangers, just because it's cool. We got two-handed swords here, as we'll see shortly. There they go. Charge in with our cavalry. Rangers of the North winning. And we didn't get a good charge there, which is not really surprising, given the fact that it's a city battle. There goes the general. And the unit should be breaking pretty soon, I guess. All right, so let's keep that up. We've got just nothing but Grim Spears in here, just 2 more units. There they go. Nowhere to run, so they'll be wiped out to a man. Yeah, the Grey Company is a very cool unit. I remember when they were being developed, I was not fully on board with the idea, I have to admit, if I'm remembering this correctly. The idea of horse archers for a Dunedanic faction just seemed really wrong. I think this was Webbe's idea, and there may have been a bit of back and forth about it, but I'm really glad we went this direction with them. It's cool because they're a hybrid unit, so there's some versatility there, but you still have to be careful with them. They're really good in melee, or surprisingly good in melee. It seemed like a very light unit. So if they get caught, they can do quite well. I mean, if you look at the armor, it's very similar to what you're seeing on units like Longbowmen. So it's pretty effective. You can do stuff like that, harass the enemy. Like, all right, they're starting to take losses. Pulling them out of the plaza here. And it's very sad when this unit, when Eridan here dies, because typically I don't build them. I think they're available in Numinas. All right, we did get caught there, so we have to be careful. But I don't think we've taken any losses yet. But yeah, they're pretty much limited. Okay, see, I see they're now turning away. But they're getting hammered by all of our archers now. And now we can bring on the Grim Spears, I think, or bring on the Kingdom Militia to catch them. Okay, we did get caught. They're wavering and routing. Wonderful. Took some losses there. I'm not sure if that's friendly fire or if it's actual spear losses. Hard to tell. But we're going to eliminate this unit, I would say. And then we'll do the same with the last one in the plaza. And then we'll have Tardal here. This is not a wonderful settlement in terms of its, income potential or training. It doesn't give us any special units, for example. But it's an easy one to take. And it does certainly draw the attention of Adunabar away from harassing us. So that's a good reason to try to take it, as well as Ettendale, which is over to the east. So we ran out of arrows here on the Grey Company, but our other archers are firing already. As long as they keep getting losses on these guys, they'll keep coming out to try to push the archers back. As you can see, they keep wanting to go back to the plaza. I'll go back to skirmish on these rangers. We did lose a few men there, I think about 10. I think they started off with 50 men. Well, what we can do now is sneak around to the plaza. And we'll take it with the Grey Company. Cut them down, they're broken, and I think we can just end the battle, actually. And so that should get us the settlement. Yes, it sure does. And now we have to decide what to do with it. It is not very happy. This is, of course, a cultic settlement, and it's going to take a while to change that. We can, as part of that, destroy some of these buildings. but it's still going to be pretty unhappy with us, I think. There's not enough people here to warrant, laying desolate or anything, and it doesn't feel like the right thing to do anyway, so we'll just occupy. The Groves of the Shadow we may as well eliminate. They're not giving us anything. Sometimes you want to keep the owning factions, religion buildings if they're already there, but that's usually with factions that are capable of switching to different alignments. So, for example, if you're playing as Adunabar, who can have Ways of the West or Shadow Cult settlements and can build both of those options, if you're attacking into Gondor as Adunabar, then you don't want to destroy those Lawkeeper type buildings that improve Ways of the West. Even if you're playing a really cultic Adunabar, you want to keep that stuff in place for the most part. It's just a hassle to convert. With the Reunited Kingdom, we don't have the option. We cannot build any Groves of the Shadow or any Shadow Cult things, so we just got to eliminate those items. Actually, we're at 70% public order. We lower the taxes a bit, but we will experience one of the challenges here, which is holding this settlement. I think I'm going to leave the trader because we may come back to this and take it at a later point. But I am going to get rid of the Homeland Dominion. This will at least slow down Adunabar, and I'm wondering now what to do in terms of next moves. I don't see a large force anywhere around here. They could all gang up and attack Tardal immediately because there's no walls. I'm not sure if they'll do that. There could be another huge army over here or over here that's just ready to move in, and that may happen, and if so, we would have to hold them off. I think we stand a pretty good chance of doing that, though, so I think I'll leave this for a turn, and then we'll decide what to do. I don't think we have the movement points, no, we don't, to hit this army anyway, so we'll just hold off, and I think probably they're going to turn back. And back in Ithilien, again, we are besieging the Tower of Kirath Dueth with our king. The purpose here is just to block the passages. We're not really trying to take this. We get 5 more seasons, and then we can just unsiege it and re-siege it and keep that up indefinitely if we want. I'm not sure that I'll do that. It feels a little gamey, more than a little gamey. But for now, I don't feel like I have a lot of other great options. And we also have a war with Harondor that we need to be very worried about because they're going to be potentially coming up through Ithilien pretty quick. But let's see what the AI does. Oh no! They went straight for Anuminas. Well, good for them in one sense. I've got to admit, I never see this. I never see the AI Adunabar come on so strong going after Anuminas. And, what I'm kind of surprised is that they didn't actually assault, because I'm quite sure there are trolls in this army. Well, let's see what we can do. They also completely ignored Tardal and besieged us in Amon-Sul. Now, this is not a great loss. If we lose this place, we can't train anything here. It's not a full-fledged settlement. We can eventually train Kingdom Militia here. That's pretty much as good as it's going to get. So they can besiege us, I guess, and then we could do different things with this army. One of the things we may do is head over to Fornost. We, of course, have 2 broad directions we could go. One school of thought might say it's better to go here, grab Ettendale while there's still no walls, maybe take Lastbridge. But I think the fact that they're coming on so strong in the west means we have to attend to that. So we're going to lose Tardal again. That's totally fine. It was more important for us to keep the army together. And let's move out. All right, fortunately, no ambushes around here. We get low taxes. They're going to either walk back in, probably with this army next turn, or there's going to be a rebellion. I'm really not sure which of those is more likely. Let's bring our spy over and see if we can get a better look at this army composition now. Yep, they've got their hill trolls. So that's fun. They could have attacked, and that would have been actually great because they would have gone against the gates with the hill trolls. And we've got archers. We might have been able to do pretty well depending on the strength of the walls. I'm not sure that I've ever defended Anuminas from an assault as the Reunited Kingdom because usually the enemy is just doing other things. This is quite a new development. All right, well, let's check out our other news. And we're starting to see some attuned governors kick in, which is great. Gundor of Chetwood, he's attuned in Bree. Wonderful. He's a competent governor, so this will give him some bonuses. Otar of Tarlang's Neck over in Mornan. He's also attuned, so we could theoretically start on the minor province if we had enough money. And I think we've got one more. Yes, Earthel of Kalembel. And he's pretty old, so we might want to prioritize using him, maybe on something like a construction charter, just to get the use out of him while he's still alive. We also got an interesting retinue member, Glirhuan of the Vales of Lebanon, got a loyal esquire, +2 security versus assassination attempts, and increased public order. All right, very nice. An esquire works diligently in the service of his master. So he's also getting up there in age. We may want to pass along that ancillary to somebody else. And we lost an absolutely staggering amount of money last turn, 13,546. I think part of it is the war with Harondor has completely ruined our trade prospects, so we need to settle that. Also, we've got several sieges going on, and that just hurts. So now we're expecting a loss, which is not good. See these armies approaching around here. We did manage to retrain our troops in Minus Honor. We're not going to use this guy as a governor, so let's get him out here, out of the settlement quickly. And I'm thinking we may as well bring out the Lasarnic Axemen, even though there's very few of them left. It looks like Adunabar's assault on Aldburg went poorly, and now they're rushing back to Calenhad. I don't think Rohan's going to do too much damage to them. In fact, Rohan is looking fairly weak. They've been unable to make any progress against Dunland, and they've only got small forces in the area. That's kind of good, again, because I don't want them to become too strong and cause problems for me. But if they're not able to hold Adunabar in check, that could, of course, also be bad in its own way. So let's get this army out and decide exactly where we want to put it. I think we have to get forces in the Ithilien region again. And I think we'll get them right over here on the bridge. A couple of family members here. And we'll just stand there for now. A few more seasons, 4 seasons remaining, and we'll be able to build some other stuff in Emin Arnon and hopefully help the recruitment capability in the area. But it's going to take some time. We also finished recruiting, or retraining rather, in Dol Amroth, so we can get all of these guys out of the city again. So the question is, who do I want to leave as a garrison troop? It's going to mostly come down to cost. On the one hand, Kingdom Militia are very effective, but they cost a lot more than the Bowmen of Gondor. The Bowmen, though, well, the Bowmen of Gondor are really nice to have in a battle. So what are we looking at down here? Oh, definitely doable. We've got 3 units of Corsairs, 2 of Corsair Archers, and they're pretty weak units. I'm going to want to eliminate this stack, and then we can get back to trying to defend the coast. So let's get these guys out of here, and let's do this. Let's keep the Kingdom Militia, even though they've got that gold experience upgrade, which makes me think that they're pretty good. Bring the army down here. We'll attack. They're going to withdraw, and we don't have any movement points. So next turn we'll be able to deal with that again. And let's take a look at some of these fleets just to see if there's units, and there are. So they're going to land another force somewhere, maybe up in Dol Amroth, maybe down here to join this host. But they're not going to do that if we sink the fleet. Now the problem is there's 4 ships here, so we're going to have to get our guys out of these ports, and there are a lot of enemy ships in the area. Fortunately, none of these other enemy fleets appear to have any hangars on. Well, let's get over here, get all these guys out. Let's first attack that ship. 29 men in this Harondor fleet. We should be able to sink that, I would think. No, it goes away. Okay. We'll now attack this. 78 men. A Dromond and a couple of Southron ships of war. We should sink at least one of those. Yep, one of them goes away. The entire fleet does remain. Now, I think it's more important now to get down here with everybody. so that we can ensure that we win this battle. Because landing troops in Gondor is the biggest problem right now. Not that this is too threatening, but it's something that we need to keep this very expensive army around to deal with, at least for now. And so looking at the ships here, we've got a Marauder, a Dromund, and a couple of the lowest tier Southron ships of war. And if we can, well, okay, we're not going to sink this entire fleet. So these units are going to remain. What's going to happen at best is if we win, they're going to go off somewhere into the fog of war. Possibly, annoyingly, they may sail up north to escape our fleets. So we'll just have to see, but we have to do this kind of thing, wearing them down. Okay, no ships eliminated there on either side, but we did win. And they're going back south. Good. I think we want to keep all of our ships together right now. We can't get back to port, but we can maybe move them up to attack this force. That's going to potentially eliminate some of our boats, but I think it's going to be a good move anyway. This is a pretty strong force as well. They've got a Dromund and a couple of middling ships. Another clear victory, and we did lose a few across all of our fleets. They lost none, but again, that's what you have to do. Let's move everybody over here, keep all of them together so they can reinforce. If any one of them is attacked, all the other fleets will be there to help. So this kind of formation, like a, I don't know, like a little triangle setup is what I use whenever I'm keeping them together, as long as I'm paying attention. In terms of income, that's a little bit better, just minus 262. And here at the beginning of the next turn, we are, sure enough, besieged by Harondor. So this is not looking too imposing. They do have another small reinforcing army coming up from the south as well. We should be able to take them out here. Let's see what other information we have. Okay, Dorwinion looks like they have attacked North Rune. And Adunabar and the Elves have made peace, which is not uncommon, unfortunately. In Bree, we finished our mustering fields. So that means, if I'm correct here, we can make Rangers of the North. You know what? Let's do it. A couple of seasons, but I think it's worth it, even though we are going to lose money. I think we need good units. I think that's just what it comes down to. And we did lose about 1,000 last turn. So we will make some of that back once we get rid of this Harondor host. So let's make that our first priority. And they're actually just going to withdraw. How far they get, let's see. Just going towards the coast, I guess. Well, now that that's done, we should be able to see what the army was. Harondor has some really good troops and some troops that are really annoying for us to deal with. Horsemen of the Harnan fall in the former category, as well as these archers of Harad. These guys are not really longbowmen quality, but they're quite good. Decent armor, and they can use flaming missiles, which usually, honestly, isn't that much of a problem for us. But these cavalry are among the most effective units that Harondor has, and they also have skirmishers. Now, these guys are mostly fodder for our archers, but the problem is they can certainly do some damage when we can't just cut them down with bows. So that's what they've got there. I think I'd like to move the army down south a little bit, but I'm a little concerned that there might be another huge stack. So let's see who we have in the area in terms of agents or emissaries or anything. I think we've just got some agents in here to prevent bribes, and that's it.
Yes, Captain.
Well, let's bring this bowman unit over. Can we get him into minus Ithil? I think let's put him in minus Honor for now, and then we'll get him down with the other army. Since I can't see what's down here, I'm just going to go for it. And we'll attack this army, and they're going to retreat. Let's see if we're able to attack them. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, some skirmishers, some footmen, and some more skirmishers. And there's the big giant stack. Okay, sure enough. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to bother attacking this army because we're going to get attacked. And I just don't want to take any losses at all. So we're going to, let's see, where's the best place to be? I think, honestly, probably right on the road. So this is probably fine. Let's just move back a little bit up here. they'll attack us, and we'll at least have the option of using our longbows, using our citadel catapults in particular. So hopefully that'll go okay. But we've got like less than a quarter stack. It's looking pretty bleak. Let's augment that with some Kingdom Militia. Let's see, what else can we possibly do here? We've got a couple of units of really weak bowmen. I think these guys were from another force. That's right, I never retrained them. I just brought them down from Caer Andros. So, what to do about them? Well, I think rather than... One thought was I could swap one of these weak units out for, mercenary Gondorian swordsmen. Maybe I'll do that with the Lasarnic Axemen, but... yeah, let's do that. Let's put them here. Kingdom Militia can go to minus Ithil, and Gondorian swordsman mercs can come down here. I think that's literally all we can do there. I could bring another bodyguard unit, I guess, but we already have 2, and I don't think this army that's coming up has any bodyguards in terms of family members, so we should be all set there. We're also blockaded at Lynn here, but not at Dol Amroth. Now, this is not the landing force, so I think we want to keep our eyes peeled just for that. Let's move over here. We'll attack this host again, and I think we're going to be able to catch him this time. Yeah, pretty straightforward, just a bunch of Corsair rabble. Alright, and it looks like they're really desperate to get away from us here. Got them cornered right against the sea. Looking over at the island of Tolfalis, I guess? Yeah, and then we've got some fleets over there. We can see just in the distance in the haze. They're coming right at us, though, so let's halt. Start shooting. These Corsairs are going to be very, very weak to our arrows, but they do have these couple of bowmen units, and those can do some damage as well. Fortunately, our longbowmen, which are tougher, are out front. Let's get the Mariners on fire at will. Corsairs should be routing pretty soon here. Well, maybe not. They're wavering, but they very politely decided to allow our longbowmen to withdraw before closing in. Very, very nice of them. Alright, since there's basically like no spearmen, nothing too dangerous, let's charge our guys forward. I know that as soon as I said that, it sounded like famous last words, but we'll see. Charge in there with our Dol Amroth men-at-arms. Broken immediately. Great. Again, the Knights of Dol Amroth are, I believe, a frightening unit. Yep. So that's great. Corsairs of Umber are back over here, but I just can't be bothered with that. So we'll just keep rushing in. Get everybody absolutely broken. Yep, and we're just shooting them down pretty handily. This other charge from the men-at-arms might push them over into wavering. There goes the captain. And they are now routing. Nowhere to run indeed. You guys got dropped off by your shipmates, and you're just left to die on the beach. So I think we can end the fight here. We've eliminated everybody we need to. Get a clear victory, and not too much loss on our end. Now, what I wanted to do here was build a watchtower. I've got just enough money to do it, but that would get me down really close to 0 cash. So I think we're going to have to give that a wait. Let's put this army over in the trees, just in case another host lands here that we miss. Okay. I'd like to use these fleets as scouts. See if we can get eyes on that Haradrian force. The fleet that we had chased away. All right, it's not this one. Interesting. So I don't know where it went. It's not that one. That's got nobody on board. I guess it could be somewhere over here.
Fleet ready. Yes, Captain. Fleet ready. Yes, Captain.
Hmm.
Ready.
Feels a little risky to be coming this far south.
Fleet ready. Yes, Captain.
There it is. Nope. Man, we must have driven that off pretty far.
Set sail. Aye, Captain. Yes, Captain.
Well, let's get over here and take out this ship anyway. I'd like to think that we'd eliminate it with this. Nope. Okay, maybe it's this. Hisham? Yeah, this is the big force. Alright, so where can they get to next season? They can't get on our coast. So we've kind of, by sort of setting our boats up here, you can see there's actually, we can't go on this part of the water. There's a bit of a curve. You kind of have to follow the coastline on this map. So what that means is we're kind of forcing them to not be able to get too far north, which is really nice. So we should be able to catch them next season. Rather surprisingly, we did not lose Tardal this turn. No one bothered to take it. So hopefully it'll rebel and go to a full stack of angry rebels. But I am not sure. Let's see if this army... They've got ladders. Well, I think we can hold out if it comes to it. Maybe what we can do this time is besiege Fornost. That'll call them back towards us. It's a bit of a risky move because we could be fighting those trolls in the field. But let's get all of those forces together. Still don't think we... Well, it'd be nice to have these mercenaries, but they're very expensive. And so I'd rather not invest at this point. Let's end the turn and see what happens. And we are attacked at Fornost. All right. Well, I think this makes a good time to end our episode here. This might be a little bit of a short one, but we've had several battles here. So when we come back, we'll see how this army does. We have at least relieved Anuminas, and if we can beat this army as well as the garrison, we could end up with Fornost. That would be really great. So I hope you'll join me for that. We'll also have to see what happens with Harondor. They haven't gotten to move yet, so this coming turn, this will be a lot of stuff happening. I can't wait. I'll see you then.